Hey there, everybody. I wanted to pop on here today because this is such a juicy topic and it's something that I really like helping my clients navigate it because I didn't used to be so good at this and I've gotten much better at it. And it is really it's kind of a big juncture. It's a big decision. How do you know if you want to move forward with somebody and be more open and be more vulnerable, and particularly all the things that go along with doing that through sex? So I've got to put my glasses on to see who's here. Hey, you guys, nice to have you here. So I'm Lisa Rose. I'm a love and dating coach, and I am the founder of Deeper Love, Better Sex. And if you are a successful single, I can help you get really good at dating so your dates will naturally lead you to love. So I want to offer you kind of a couple of specific things to be thinking about and also practicing when you're dating somebody that will really help you navigate this juncture successfully. So if you're popping on now, please say hello in the comments, and I'd love to know you're here. So the first thing that I like to consider is keeping a balance between emotional intimacy and sexual intimacy. Sexual intimacy is very intimate, but it isn't necessarily emotionally intimate. And when one part gets way ahead of the other, it can be a little bit troublesome and problematic. Like, let's say, for example, that you jump right into bed with somebody and then you find out that they're not really a good fit for you, or they behave in a way that's really hurtful for you, or you just have a big surprise and you don't yet have the emotional foundation of trust and safety to weather that storm. So a question that I will often ask myself is, does the emotional intimacy feel about equal and on par with the sexual intimacy? And if not, then I will like to put more attention into building the emotional intimacy by talking more, by asking more questions, by going on more walks and having really good conversations, and kind of having all of the getting to know you phase of relationship building. And one nice way to balance that is, if you guys know me, you know that I'm a touch junkie and I love cuddling and I love massage. But often when I'm in that space, I'm not really verbal, which is one of the things that I like about it. Or I'm not up in my head, I should say that. So it's nice to kind of like mix it up and also have times to go on a hike or go out for a meal or do something where it's just really more conducive to having verbal conversation. So if this is making sense to you, you can, give some likes or hearts or something, put something in the comments, let me know if you have a question. So keeping track of where you are emotionally alongside sexually. And then the other one, this is really what I want to speak to today, is so many people make this decision through default rather than through conscious, deliberate choice. And if you have a pattern of jumping into sex really quickly, you might want to do something different just to shake up that pattern. Now, some of the reasons that you might be inclined to do that is it's what you've always done. You think it's expected. You think it's required if he's going to stay interested and stick around, or it's just your favorite way to get to know somebody. There's nothing bad about any of those choices, but if they don't feel like a choice, if it feels like a default rather than, well, I just do this because I don't know what else to do, or I do this because I've always done it, you're leaving some important parts out of the equation. So the first thing I want you to consider is, does this actually feel like a choice? Which means, are you checking in with yourself? So put a 1 in the comments if you feel like you generally tend to just default to what's habitual and what you're used to, or a 2, I got to put these on, I can't see anything. Hey, nice to see you. Or a 2 if you are currently practicing, just kind of slowing things down and being a little bit more deliberate, and whether you feel like you actually make a choice. So, we're kind of trained in the movies where they go out for a great date or they have some romantic spark and then they're in bed together. But there's actually a lot more choices than that. And what I often will say to my clients is that the territory between the goodnight kiss at the door and in bed together, there's a lot of territory in there. And I want to invite you to really consider all of that territory as possible, as available to you, as places where intimacy and connection can grow and develop. And really, like, there can be a lot of really yummy, juicy exchange. Like for me, you know, cuddling and massage, one of my favorite things in the world to do. It's a really rich place to be that is not, it's kind of beyond, you know, the goodnight kiss at the door and jumping all the way into bed together. So something else I wanted to say about that, but I can't read my notes. So what it was, oh yeah, so this is it. So I really like doing this at the beginning of a date because, you know, oftentimes like I'm coming off of my work day and he's coming off of whatever he's coming off of, and there's a million different things that we could chat about. One of the things that I have found just super, super useful to kind of like get in resonance with each other and connect is to do a little check-in. It's just like a few little bullet points, a few little headlines about this is what's present for me, this is what's current, you know. So like I like to know if he's just been sitting in 45 minutes of traffic and he's a little bit stressed out versus if he just won his case in court, is he's totally celebrating that win. I just kind of like to get a pulse on where he's at. And I also like just the feeling of we're kind of getting in, we're being real with each other right from the start. So it's like, you know, this is how my body feels, this is how my energy feels, this is what's present for me. Just keeping it, you know, maybe like 5 minutes each. And then you can do that same thing around like where you are in the relationship, and in particular around where you're feeling sexually. So if this is making sense, put something in the comments. I want to know that this is landing with you guys. And it's always nice if you say hello if you're just joining. So the way that might look is I'm just going to model it for you. It might be something like let's say it's a second or third date. You're enjoying him, you're attracted to him, but you're still in the very beginning stages of connection. So it might go something like, hey, you know, I really enjoyed our last time together. I'm really enjoying getting to know you. I noticed that I feel very curious about you and really comfortable with you. I'm also really attracted to you. And this time round, I'm wanting to just take things kind of slowly so that we're really building a foundation of trust and friendship, and we're getting to know each other, and from that point, deciding if we want to move forward sexually. So you can just kind of use that as a way to like let him know where you're at and what your intention and what your desire is, and then check in with him like, how does that sound? So you get a chance to see, are you on the same page about this? Are you basically rolling on the same wave? And you don't know what he's going to say, so it's a really good time to listen, and if you're not clear and you're not sure, ask some questions. So that checking in is a really useful, really powerful way to say, you know, for some of my clients, it's like, I don't want to have sex with anybody until I've known them for 6 months. Or I don't want to be naked with you until we've had at least 5 or 6 dates. Obviously, the first step in that is getting some clarity about what's true for you and what you actually desire. Because if you don't have that, it's going to be very easy to just default to either what you think he wants or what he's asking for. But when you can verbalize what it is that you're wanting, and then you can have a conversation about it, you can see if you are on the same page, and maybe you are, you know, like a lot of times I have suggested being cuddle buddies to men, and they love that idea, but it wasn't necessarily something that they would have thought about, because maybe the last woman that they dated didn't suggest it. So they're like, yeah, that sounds great, I'd like to do that. So the check-in is great, and then at the end of the time together, it's a really nice to like have kind of what I call a check-out, you know, where you get to be really honest, and one of you might say, I really enjoy the cuddling, I also notice that I'm really hot for you, or I'm really attracted to you, or I'm really appreciating that we're going at this pace and it feels really nice, and I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. Just kind of like you're giving sort of words and expression to whatever is present and true for you. And you can do that as a microcosm around your desires for moving forward sexually. So It's like a really great way to do that is instead of just falling into all of a sudden you're on the couch or you're making out and it's kind of like, well, how did this happen? That can be fun, but in the beginning, I think more conversation and more communication will really serve you being choiceful and mindful. So it can be like, yeah, I really enjoyed hanging out with you at dinner and I'd love to cuddle or I'd love to spoon, or, you can just open it by, where are you feeling in terms of how we move forward with our physical interaction? You can just kind of invite that conversation and then you can decide. And my strong recommendation is that once you have a consensus, like it might be, for this date, I would like to keep my clothes on. Or for this date, I would like to kiss, but not really make out. Like once you have that decided between the two of you, stick to it. You can always change your mind, but if you do that, it's good to kind of like raise your hand and go like, we decided one thing. I'd like to just check in because I'm feeling something different. However, when there are a lot of hormones raging, just know that you're not making a rational decision. You're making a hormone-based primal decision. Nothing wrong with that. Just want to make sure it's the decision you want to be making. So what often works better is to stick with the decision that you choose for that time. And then you can come back next time and say, wow, that was great. And this is what I'm up for this time. So any questions about this? I can't see all the comments. I can just see that you're here. So I hope this is making sense. If you listen to the replay and you have any questions or comments, please let me know you're here by saying hello. And if there's something in particular, hey Lorena, if there's something in particular that you want to ask or you're curious about this, you can always leave it in the comments. So if you kind of follow this, I think you will get more and more used to it. It can feel clunky in the beginning just because we're not really trained to do it. So it's a little bit like developing a new language. Oh, thank you. Glad it helped. It's a little bit like developing a new language, both the words itself, but also taking the time to have the conversation rather than just going into what feels like, your default. Sex is even more fun when it's consensual and when it's a choice and when there isn't a part of you that you're kind of like leaving out, so you can't be fully present because you haven't yet had the conversation that will allow you to bring all of yourself forward. That's what makes sex really juicy and really intimate and a whole lot less problematic. So I look forward to hearing how this goes for you. If you found this helpful, please pop over to my group here on Facebook, Dating Wisdom for Successful Singles. We talk about this stuff all the time. I will answer your questions and just help you get really good at dating. So dating is actually fun for you rather than something that you dread. And if you're having trouble kind of like using some of this, and if your conversations around sex are not actually leading you to the results that you'd like, I'd be happy to hop on the phone with you. Shout out, hey Mark, nice to see you. I actually offer a 30-minute complimentary consultation that's called Let's Talk About Sex. And it's exactly for this, except that you get my personal attention and some personal tips to help you get even better at it. So you can find me on Facebook, and you can also find me in my group, Dating Wisdom for Successful Singles. I want to hear how this goes for you because I want you all to have awesome sex lives that you feel really good about. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.